And the best way to stay safe is to never go faster than the slowest part. Hello there and welcome back to the channel. My name is Conor. I'm an IFS-trained coach. I was trained by the IFS Institute about 10 years ago and absolutely love this work. Thanks for being here. If you haven't subscribed, do it because I put out a lot of good content in my opinion. So let's talk about this topic. Is IFS dangerous to do on your own? I would say that anything can be dangerous. Driving a car can be quite a dangerous venture, but almost all of us do it. I think this comes back to self-responsibility and a reasonable self-assessment. And if you don't feel like you're in a place to either take self-responsibility, that is to take responsibility for this, or if you don't feel like you're in a place where you can reasonably assess yourself and your own safety or potential risk of non-safety, then it's probably not right for you to practice IFS on your own, or perhaps other forms of therapeutic modalities that can go so deep as IFS can. And it is completely okay if those two things are not present for you right now. I know for myself, there was definitely a time where I didn't know how to truly take responsibility for me. And I think that I was operating on the edge of safety, unsafety. And it probably wouldn't have been appropriate for me to try to dive into the depths of my system and understand it. If you feel like it's possible that you could get into a place that is unsafe, then I wouldn't do it. If you do feel responsible for yourself and you're operating in a general space of safety, then here's what I would do. I have said this before in other videos, but I'll say it again. The best way that you can keep yourself safe, and that, safety we might be talking about physical safety, we might be talking about psychological safety, we may even be talking about spiritual safety, depending on your perspective on yourself, your system, and the world. And the best way to stay safe is to never go faster than the slowest part. So it's possible that in watching this video, it may be because you have a part that is actually concerned, that has some fear. And my recommendation would be to connect with that part first and ask, what are you concerned about? What are your fears? Tell me more. Tell me more. I'm really curious. And if that part is not super alive, this is still a good question to check in with your whole system about on a regular basis while practicing IFS, or perhaps even before really going into a drop-in where you have your eyes closed and you're starting to connect with different parts of your system. And that would be to ask the question, are there any parts of me right now that have a concern about doing this work? You can also ask this question when you do encounter a part that you would like to engage with. You can ask the question, are there any parts of me right now that have a concern about engaging with this part? If you can go slow and you can be patient, I would really trust that you will remain safe. The possibility, however, that a part could blend with you, that is take over self, or that you kind of think you're in self energy, but there's actually the presence of a part here. And that part may have an agenda, may have urgency. It may be driving a little faster than you should, is a real possibility. And so if you can continuously reconnect with the sensation of self-energy and really check yourself on a regular basis, am I still in self-energy or is there something else here? And just remain really curious about that possibility. Then you may be able to reveal pretty quickly when another part has come in. And if another part has come in and blended with self, then what you want to do is to just ask that part to separate a little bit. And then you can engage with that part as much as it needs in order to relax and pull back and give you space to continue the work that maybe you have started with some other part or parts of your system. So if you can make the name of the game patience, I think you're going to be just fine. And then also to continuously come back to curiosity, which is a characteristic of self. And be really curious, where am I right now? Are there any parts of me that have a concern? Are there any parts of me that need to slow down? Are there any parts of me that need to be heard before I progress? Now, there's a lot of IFS work that I think is probably incredibly safe for pretty much anyone to do, that would be maybe primarily focused on beginning to identify different parts of your system. And you don't necessarily have to be dropped in, that is with your eyes closed. Potentially, this is how I do it, encourage my clients to do it, hand on heart, hand on belly, but just a state where you're really connected with your system and you're starting to genuinely feel the presence of parts. You don't necessarily have to do that in order to start identifying parts. A lot of this identification process can be done mentally, most likely with the assistance of some parts that like to operate in the mind. And this can be done by writing down different parts of your system that you can just think about and then begin the process of starting to track them and fill out their characteristics and maybe their actions and behaviors, thoughts and feelings. Doing that type of work is, I think, probably pretty darn safe for pretty much everybody. But when you do start going in and you really start feeling it, and you have different parts coming in and looking for your attention or poking around or offering you memories or showing up in your body as a sensation, it is possible that the layers begin to open pretty quickly. And even though you may not have a part that is stepping up and saying, hey, this is too fast for me, you, as the adult, as the holder of self-energy, can take responsibility for parts of you who may not know that they need to voice something. And you can slow down the process. And so again, coming back to a place of real patience, real gentleness, real curiosity. This is the best way to keep yourself really safe. In IFS, we're not looking to change anything. We're not looking for results. But at the same time, we're kind of doing all this work so that positive change kind of naturally happens. So I'll just say, you'll have the best results if you go slow and you have a lot of patience. You'll have the best outcomes, guaranteed. There is a lot of question around what about exiles? And can it be safe to engage with an exile without anyone else helping you do it? I'm gonna save that for a different video because I think it needs more time and more explanation and more care. But I do hope that this video is helpful. I hope that it soothes any parts of you that might be concerned. And I hope it also offers some direction for those of you who genuinely just might not be ready to do that type of work on your own, and to let you know that that's so okay. That's so okay. Exactly where you are is exactly where you are, and let's love you in that space as best as possible, yeah? And so if you need help and you need to get a practitioner, or you need to do group work, or you just need to be held in a better space with other human beings, that is so wonderful and appropriate, and I just so encourage you to do that. If you do feel like, I want to do this on my own, I want to practice this, I want to take self-responsibility, I want to go there, then my encouragement would be, if you haven't checked it out already, my program that is available at internalfamilysystems.org, which can hold a structure for you to do that work for yourself. And it can give you some guidance step by step so that you can both feel safe and that you can take responsibility for yourself. So if you want to check that out, it's in the description box down below. I hope you have a beautiful day. Really happy to have you here again. Thanks so much for offering your time, and I do hope videos like this are super helpful. I'll talk to you soon.